Apes together strong.
I will finish it.
War for the Planet of the Apes, directed by Matt Reeves, is the third and probably last entry in the new prequel Planet of the Apes franchise. As movie fans, you know how hard it is to put out a great final movie in a trilogy. There are many examples where the third one didn't live up to the expectations. And I would say it's even harder to make a great prequel to something as iconic as the 1968 original Planet of the Apes. But War succeeds in all those things. This new trilogy must be considered as one of the very best movie trilogies of all time. And we didn't just get 3 good movies, but 3 very different ones that complement each other perfectly and that give you an overarching journey and one of the very best and unique fictional characters in movie history. And I know I'm very easy on the superlatives right now, but War for the Planet of the Apes is simply a fantastic movie that had me invested from start to finish. And I was also very surprised of the movie that I got, because it was quite different from what I was expecting. This isn't a battle-heavy action movie like the title might suggest. Quite the opposite. This must be one of the bleakest, saddest, and most intimate mainstream blockbusters. I won't go into much detail about the story, but I have to talk at least about some general things concerning the plot, in order to describe what it is that makes this movie so great and fascinating. It's called War for the Planet of the Apes, and it is a war movie, but don't expect the apes preparing for one big final battle. It's much more a prison camp movie, an intense human drama that goes deep into Holocaust imagery at times. Frankly, I wasn't expecting this level of intense subject matter, but then on the other hand, that's exactly what a Planet of the Apes movie should be about, in my opinion. We continue this amazing character journey of Caesar, and we delve deep into his soul. And with all this backstory from the first 2 movies, he feels like no other movie character before. The obvious reason for that: first, he's a completely computer-generated character, brought to life by the amazing performance capture acting by Andy Serkis and the whole team behind it. He simply looks and feels real. He looked from the beginning in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but with each movie the amount of screen time increased. We jumped back to the human characters quite a bit before, even if Caesar always felt like the actual protagonist and of course hero of the story. But this time we really spent almost the entire time at his side, and that's exactly what we want. But the other, more important reason is his character, the way he thinks and acts. He's not your typical action hero, even though he has moments of that as well. He has so much responsibility and at the same time those dark inner conflicts as well, and all that has grown over the path of those 3 movies. He's also one of those iconic characters that doesn't speak that much, and therefore it's all the more important that he's able to convey his thoughts and feelings through other aspects. And it's not just the mimic, his body language, and the emphasis on the few words and sentences he is saying, but it's the filmmaking that accompanies all that. Like in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we get sucked into the world of these apes from the very beginning, and this time we never once leave it. The camera work is beautiful, from the lush forests to the way the movie constantly uses a very narrow focus or shifting focus to emphasize on specific things or to evoke certain feelings like intimacy, for example. The music stood out for me as well. Michael Giacchino's score is such an important aspect of the movie, especially since it's often very quiet because most apes communicate just with sign language. But by far the best thing was Caesar and the whole emotional journey he takes us on. Because War for the Planet of the Apes is a very sad movie, but it never felt manipulative. Of course it is, as all movies are. That's one reason why we go see it. We want to be moved by what we see, but it shouldn't come across as lazy or too sentimental. It also must be earned, and how it is earned here. We spent 3 movies with Caesar, watched him grow up, become the leader of the apes, and now again he's forced to make extreme decisions. and I was rooting for him and both his internal as well as external struggle so much. Woody Harrelson plays the Colonel, and for a second I thought he was a little bit too evil, too one note, but I think that first impression was wrong. The more I thought about him and this movie, the more I appreciated it. I won't say what his overall plan is, but the way he treats Caesar, how he is recognizing his intelligence, all that plays into his character, and the way the movie deals with their confrontation was quite remarkable. I'm coming back to what I said at the beginning. This was much more an anti-war movie, and I would go even further and say this felt almost like an anti-action movie as well. There are action scenes, but it doesn't give into cheap, primal cravings for blood and revenge. And that is on one hand remarkable when you think about the fact that it's such an emotional charged story or setting, and on the other hand it is the only logical manner to deal with it in a way that elevates it and brings across their themes perfectly. Because to put it quite simple, mankind is acting like animals, while the apes are the ones who show empathy and mercy, and Caesar's struggle to not lose that good heart in all this despair is such an engaging thing to watch. At its core, it has a very pacifist message, and it highlights the importance of empathy and caring for each other. I really have nothing bad to say. Maybe it's a little bit too slow at times, but that's it. War for the Planet of the Apes is a great movie. Don't expect a fast-paced action film. This is more about the journey of one ape and the struggle he and his people have to endure and overcome. But I can't end the review without saying how great and touching Maurice is once again, and how well integrated his relationship to a newly introduced human girl is. And yet another great addition, Steve Zahn as Bad Ape, who is definitely comic relief, but in a way that's not distracting from the seriousness of the movie. It's my favorite movie of the summer and even of the whole year so far. It's deep, emotional, thought-provoking, bold and wonderfully put together. In German I'd say Affen gemeinsam stark. I give War for the Planet of the Apes 9 out of 10. It's more like 9.1, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below, let me know what you think about War for the Planet of the Apes. And also let me know what's your favorite final film in a movie trilogy. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.